Alright, so I guess I'd go for 3 and just try to knock out all 3 videos tonight and go to bed after. But starting back off in the middle of the A's, we don't really have that many A's left to go. I'm looking at my shelf. But yeah, we got Anthrax, Among the Living. Great thrash metal album. I'm not really a huge fan of Anthrax. I mean, I do own quite a few of their releases, and I guess that would say otherwise. But I'm really not, like, the hugest Anthrax fan in the world. But this one's really, it's an essential. But now here's an album I think's actually better than Among the Living, with Anthrax, State of Euphoria. I think this is actually a better album. I just like the riffs on this one a lot more. I think that's a great album in my opinion. And another great Anthrax album, Persistence of Time. Great, 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 great stuff. Now here's one that's a bit of an acquired taste, and it took me a while to appreciate this one. Anthrax, The Sound of White Noise. This has some more, like, grungy influence on here, and that might be a bit of a put-off for some people, but it's okay. It's not great, in my opinion. Alright, we got a kind of like this B-sides thing of Anthrax. We got Anthrax, Return of the Killer Bees. It's kind of just like a thing. It's just like a compilation of their B-sides and all that, and that's cool to have. Alright, we've got, I think it's a release from the 2000s. It's Anthrax, We've Come For You All. This album is a piece of shit. I can't stand this fucking album. I don't know why I own it, but god damn, this album's really bad. I do not like this album at all. God, it's just so bad. Oh god, it's terrible. Alright, we got a better album, Spreading the Disease. A little bit better than We've Come For You All. We've got For All Kings. It's okay, I guess. And kind of the same deal for this one. Worship Music. Just really not the hugest Anthrax fan in the world. I definitely like their first couple albums, but I'm just not really, like, big into the band. Alright, so this is one I'm not really into at all. Anima, The Daily Grind. It's a mixture of, like, grindcore, death metal, and deathcore, and that's really not my preferred combination of sounds, really. This is really not my sound. I ended up picking this up for like $1 at some record store, but it looked cool, and it looked like something I would have been into at the time when I was into like deathcore and stuff like that. I'm not into deathcore at all really anymore, but this is really not my thing. Alright, we got some funeral doom metal here. We've got Aphonic Threnody with When Death Comes. This is some of the best, I think, underground funeral doom you can find out there. Like, the vocals kind of they sound like a Amon Amarth's vocalist, but this fucking movie, my god, it's because I was talking Halloween earlier. This album, man, this is literally the sound of a funeral. Like, if a funeral had a specific sound, this would be it to me. A lot of people would argue that any My Dying Bride album would be, but this is probably what I would think a funeral would sound like if there was a sound to describe a funeral, I guess, the way to put it. Alright, we got Anvil. This is 13. I really enjoy the hell out of Anvil. They came to Memphis not all that long ago, and Memphis is kind of far for me. I mean, I live closer to Nashville. I live like right in between Nashville and Knoxville, so Memphis is a little bit of ways out, but I would have liked to have went to Memphis to see Anvil. I know Classy Lonnie Metal was there, and that I know he seemed like he enjoyed the show quite a bit, and I've always liked Anvil. I need to get more of their stuff. They're just straight up traditional heavy metal, and it hits the spot. Alright, we got some death metal here. Arch Enemy, Doomsday Machine, melodic death metal. I think this is probably my favorite release from Arch Enemy. It's just definitely one of their heavier albums. And probably my second favorite Arch Enemy release, War Eternal. This one has a lot of nostalgic value to me. I used to listen to this shit when I was first getting into... I was like 13, 14 when I started listening to this shit, and I was getting into death metal and whatnot, melodic death metal at the time. And this was kind of like my gateway into that. And we've got Arch Enemy Will to Power. I do not like this release at all. I just do not care for this album at all. They kind of get rid of the death metal stuff and go into like a completely different sound that I'm just not really into. Alright, we got some black metal here. Archgoat, The Apocalyptic Triumphator. This is one of my favorite black metal albums of all time, man. It's just so good, man. It leans more into the Bastille side of black metal. And I think my favorite song has got to be Nuns, Cunts, and Darkness. That riff is just killer. I mean, the entire album is killer, don't get me wrong. I love this album to death, man. It's just so heavy. I think this is the album that kind of got their name out there a lot more. Nobody really knew about Archgoat before, but this is the album that kind of propelled them into out of the, I shouldn't say out of the underground, because they're still underground. But the only problem with Archgoat is that, like, I listen to this album, and then when I listen to their other stuff, it just, like, it doesn't seem like that other stuff even compares to this, and then I just want to go back and listen to this. That's the one thing I don't like about Archgoat, though. But I mean, they're still a sick band. All right, I don't approve of this band's political ideology. Though this band's kind of funny to me, though. This pretty fucking hilarious. Because these people claim to be racist, but they endorse Barack Obama, which was really, really, really interesting. But Argoslint with Unconquered Soul. Fuck, I can't say it. Soldery. I'm butchering. I'm tired. I need to go to bed. This album, this compilation, whatever the hell this is. Solidary. I need to go to bed. Fuck me, I'm stupid. Whatever. Yeah, I mean, I like the cover of the song Race War by the band Carnivore. Par for the course with these guys. I'm still just really puzzled on how they claim to be racist, but they still endorse President Barack Obama. Like, okay. And we got another release from them, Hornets of the Bagram. I actually really enjoy this release. Like I said, you know, I really don't appreciate what they sing about, but their songwriting and whatnot is quite good, I guess is the way to put it. Good songwriters, excellent musicians, terrible people. I don't even know if I'd bring myself to really ever see them live, just because I don't appreciate that type of belief system. I mean, everybody's entitled to their own belief system. It's just not one that I agree with. I have, you know, friends of acquaintances of different ethnicities and whatnot, and, you know, I don't really understand why people feel that way. But, I mean, if you make good music, you make good music, and I can't deny somebody's talent to make good music. I just, you know, that's not really an ideology that I personally would ever adopt, ever. But that's just me. So that's going to be it for we're on part 3, so part 4 is next. So I guess I'll see you guys in part 4.